where MAGA comes to talk. We got a lot to cover here. Speech in North Carolina, which was absolutely amazing. What's going on in the latest polls, and also Peanut the Squirrel, which we'll talk about in just a bit. You guys hear this story of Peanut the Squirrel, and it's very relevant to what we're facing here in America today with Kamala Harris versus Biden. But first, I want to go through the latest couple of polls we have. The Real Clear Politics average has Trump leading nationally by 0.3. And I know it's okay. So, Trump is leading in the national Real Clear Politics average by 0.3. And the media will tell you that, oh, it's neck and neck. It's neck and neck. He's only 0.3 ahead. That's not the case at all, okay? This 0.3, that includes California, Washington State, and all these liberal blue states. Republicans never lead in the national poll. For Trump to be ahead in the national poll, including all these left-wing places, is absolutely amazing. So don't let anyone in the mainstream media tell you it's close, okay? And then I want to pull up the Electoral College map. This is Real Clear Politics. Now, the Real Clear Politics is one of the best places to go when it comes to polling because it's a collection of the average of everything, okay? So, Real Clear Politics, because they average in everything, it weeds out a lot of, not all, but a lot of the liberal polling biases, all right? And the thing to look at with the polls, because I don't follow polls very closely. I know a lot of conservatives don't. We MAGA people, if I were to get a call from a pollster, I probably wouldn't talk to them, okay? And most of you probably wouldn't either if you're conservative, if you're MAGA, because you don't trust them. Who are they? You don't trust them. I'm not even sure they actually poll. Trump keeps making these references to how much they charge to do these polls and how few people they talk to. He doesn't trust the polling organizations either. I hear him make a comment about, he made one today in North Carolina. But the Real Clear Politics average right now for the Electoral College gives President Trump 287 electoral votes, 287, Kamala 251. Remember, you just need 270 to win. And they're giving Wisconsin in the average, they're giving Wisconsin and Michigan to Kamala in this count. So that's 25 electoral votes. And both Wisconsin and Michigan are now in the Trump camp. So this is amazing. Trump is ahead everywhere. He's leading everywhere. We've got no worries here. Everything is going exactly as planned and even better than planned. I mean, who could have imagined that we would be doing this well in this campaign? I mean, this when you consider everything they've done to him. Now, I was watching him in North Carolina. Let me play a couple clips from North Carolina that I want to play. Because, he hits on all the things that are on people's mind, The main things we're really worried about now, right? Border, crime, inflation, right? I mean, here's President Trump talking about Kamala's record.
Kamala, she's a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas. Do you know Pocahontas? She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of defund the police movement, and anybody who wants to defund the police for even 1 week is not worthy of being the president of the United States.
I mean, who the hell? I mean, I want you guys to think about this. Not only was she, Kamala Harris, supporting the defunding of the police, which is insane. Who benefits from that? Criminals. She was also raising money for these bail funds to bail out these looters that were destroying cities, towns, and businesses. Exactly. I mean, this is absolutely insane when you think about that. I mean, who would support something so stupid as the defunding of the police?
Pocahontas, you know Pocahontas? She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of defund the police movement, and anybody who wants to defund the police for even 1 week is not worthy of being the president of the United States of America.
That's right.
Kamala vowed to abolish ICE. She pledged to confiscate your guns. Would anybody like to give Kamala their gun? Please raise your hand. We'll pick it up immediately.
Give me a break.
So crazy. And endorsed a total ban on, yet a ban on handgun ownership that you've never seen anything like it. And by the way, her crime rates were through the roof. Do you ever know?
Right.
Do you know that Chicago has the strongest gun laws by far in the United States? And look what's happening in Chicago.
Exactly.
She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention at taxpayer expense.
I mean, think about that. Kamala supports the government paying for sex change operations for illegal aliens that are incarcerated. So, you know, sex change operations, I don't know how much they cost. They got to be incredibly expensive. They may not be as expensive as they used to because they're becoming more common. There's a little competition among these doctors that do them probably, but they're still expensive. So you're somebody who lives in some hut without electricity in Central or South America. You want a sex change operation, but you can't afford it. So what do? You come to America, get yourself arrested, go to jail. You get sentenced for a year or something, and you get your sex change operation paid for by the government. By the time you recover from the surgery, your sentence is up and you're free, and you got your sex change operation for free.
Do you know that Chicago has the strongest gun laws by far in the United States? And look what's happening in Chicago. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention at taxpayer expense.
That's crazy.
And perhaps most importantly of all, she lied about working at McDonald's. She never worked at McDonald's. She never worked at McDonald's.
No, she didn't. I mean, she's just a liar. She's just a liar.
What's happening? The United States is now an occupied country.
Yeah, they are. We're an occupied country, occupied by illegals, criminals, tens of thousands of criminals. Like, how many of them are murderers and rapists? And really, it's beyond just being occupied. We're being colonized. The United States is being colonized. And, of course, radical liberals will say, well, that's what you guys did to the Indians. No, European settlers 500-600 years ago may have done that, half a millennia ago, but that's not what's going on right now. Okay? It's not the same thing. This was open country. We are being colonized by these people. It's not just an invasion, it's colonization, and it's happening right as I'm speaking to you.
What's happening? The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. On November 5th, 2024, this will be Liberation Day in America. It's going to be liberation.
That's right.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered. These towns have been invaded and conquered, no different than a military invasion, except they don't wear uniforms. That's probably the only difference. And I would say they're probably much more violent, much more vicious. And we will put these bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of our country. We have to do that.
No, Jason K. Deport the replacements. I like that. That's a good bumper sticker.
And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage gangs, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network.
Perfect.
that's operating on American soil. Think of how far back we have to go, 1798. Who would think that? Because they ran it tough then, but sometimes you have to run it tough. And if they come back into our country, which they want to try and do, and which they'll probably be successful in doing, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility.
There you go. There you go.
And I am hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or law enforcement officer.
I mean, my goodness. I mean, this is exactly what the people want, right? I mean, what's going on? We're being overrun. We're being colonized. We're being invaded. Our women are being raped and murdered. I mean, that's what's going on here. And you hear how the liberals process it. What do they say to themselves? Well, Americans kill people, Americans rape people. Well, that makes it okay. That means Venezuelan gangs, prison gangs can come here and they can do it because sadly it happens with American citizens. That doesn't even make sense. That's crazy. But I've had Democrats call me on the radio and say that to me. People in this chat. That's crazy. But that's how Kamala Harris positions it. Well, hey, Americans do crime too. What's the difference? Well, you don't bring the criminals in. That's it. That's it. And here's the big one. Here's another one of the big ones.
We will have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for us.
That's right. I mean, how can you be against that? The no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtime. I've seen a lot of people, since Trump started talking about this, I've seen a lot of people online talking about their overtime. They work overtime, but it gets taxed more. So they really don't make that much money on overtime, a lot of people. And when they work the overtime, they're killing themselves. I mean, they're tired. They got kids. They got a wife. They got a family. They got to get home. And then they get overtaxed on their overtime. This is great, And these tax cuts, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, these are people that always get left out when tax breaks are done because they change the brackets. And people that are tip workers and most overtime workers don't pay income tax. They pay payroll taxes. There's a difference than people that pay income taxes pay payroll taxes and income taxes, right? So these are people that always get left out when the government comes in with tax cuts. And President Trump is giving massive tax cuts to huge demographics of Americans that never get a tax cut. That's a beautiful thing. But of course, Democrats, they're against that.
Which of them is the best? Okay, ready? We'll just do this quick. This is a free poll. Because, I pay these guys a lot of money, these pollsters, and I don't even think they send people into the field first. Let's see, it's 51-49. Don't send me a check for $300,000, right? I don't think they even send people into the field. You know what that means. They're supposed to have hundreds of people that go into the field. They make a lot more money when they don't even bother. They say, Trump is leading 51-49. By the way, I think we are leading. We're leading in every poll. But
what do you think about what Trump says, that the polls are all just made up numbers? I think they are too. He says that a lot, and I don't think he just says it. I think President Trump says that because he knows it's true. These pollsters lie.
You're going to prove on Tuesday that we're leading by a hell of a lot more than just saying we have to do it. We have to do it. Okay, ready? No tax on tips, right? No tax, wait. We'll go no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax Social Security. Ready? Face it, number one. Which is the best of the three? No tax on tips. Well, that's not too good. Do any of you work in restaurants? And who works in a restaurant? Not too many. You get a lot of money in this place. All right, because when I do that in Nevada, when I do that in Las Vegas, I say no tax on tips. I have to stop the speech, leave the podium for 20 minutes. It blew everything away. Okay.
Not a lot of tip workers here in North Carolina today.
Again, no tax on tips. No tax on overtime. That's right. All those houses you build, yeah, that's good. no tax on Social Security benefits.
Yeah, Social Security kind of has it there. Well, it depends on the audience, but who, those are people that have worked hard their whole life. No tax on tips. It's not just for the tip worker. The business owner has to pay part of that tax too. So it's also a tax cut for the restaurants and bars and everything that employ all those people. That's a pretty good thing. Let's see, what else? He had some good things today. Yeah, here we go. This is a good one.
So I've come today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote on Tuesday, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of massive numbers of criminals that have come into our country.
That's right.
And I will bring back the American dream. We don't have the American dream. We had it. We had it. We also had energy independence 4 years ago. This is all you need to know. Kamala broke it. She broke it. We will fix it. I will fix it. It'll be fixed very fast. And America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before.
Yeah, there you go. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name's Brian, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. So make sure you subscribe. And I live stream every day. I take live calls and everything else. And you'll love this channel, I promise. If you love Trump, you're definitely going to love the channel. If you don't love Trump, subscribe, watch me long enough, you will. Now, did any of you see this story today of Peanut the squirrel and what the government did to Peanut the squirrel? I mean, this is just, it's sad, but it's also so typical of the overreaching government. Someone say, who'll pay the price for all the tariffs? Well, Trump said that there will be no tariffs if you have your factories in the United States. It's an incentive for two things. One, it's an incentive, the tariff on a particular country will be equal to what their tariff is on our goods, right? So it's an incentive for these other countries to lower the import tax goods coming into their country. And it also is an a little encouragement to get these companies to move their factories and do their manufacturing in the United States. If it's in the United States, there's no tariffs at all. That's it. It's a great idea. President Trump's a brilliant economist. I mean, he's got that fancy business degree, and he's a billionaire. Yeah, they have none. Yeah. So I want to go through this. This thing with Peanut the squirrel, it doesn't sound like the normal thing that I'd talk about, but it has a lot to do with what's going on, this out-of-control government. This is out of New York State. This is from the Associated Press. An orphan squirrel that became a social media star called Peanut was euthanized after New York State authorities seized the squirrel during a raid on his caretaker's home. After complaints, officers from the State Department of Environmental Conservation took Peanut the squirrel and a raccoon named Fred from Mark Longo's home near the Pennsylvania border in Pine City, New York on Wednesday. On Friday, the New York Department of Environmental Conservation and the County Department of Health confirmed that both animals were euthanized. This is really a terrible story. Peanut had tens of thousands of followers on Instagram. He also had over 1 million followers on TikTok. And his owners, they run an animal sanctuary. They took him in after seeing his mother get hit by a car in New York City. Peanut's Instagram account shows the squirrel leaping on the guy's shoulders, jumping through loops, holding and eating waffles, wearing little tiny hats. They made little cute videos on Instagram. And then they wrote this: "It's with profound sorrow that we share this heartbreaking news. On October 30th, the DEC, that's that Department of Environmental, whatever, made the devastating decision to euthanize our beloved Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon, despite our passionate outcry for compassion. The agency chose to ignore our pleas, leaving us in deep shock and grief." Longo and his wife opened Peanuts Freedom Farm Animal Sanctuary in April 2023. It houses about 300 animals, including horses, goats, and a whole bunch of others. He says he was in the process of filing paperwork to get Peanuts certified as an educational animal when the government seized him. And, you know, the reason that Peanut is trending on X right now, and people are talking about it, is the government in New York. I mean, I want you to think about this. New York is overrun with illegals that are causing all kinds of problems, doing all kinds of crime. Crime in New York City is at a record high. It's like the 60s and 70s. The crime is out of control. They're bringing more and more illegals in. They're not doing anything about the illegals. They're not raiding any homes to find out if there's illegals, or they're not raiding any businesses to find out if they're illegally employing illegals. They're not rounding them up. They're not deporting them. But a guy's got a squirrel and a raccoon. They had about 3 different law enforcement agencies busted into their house, kept him outside of his house for 5 hours while they had search warrants they were serving for a damn raccoon. And it sounds stupid, but it's not. If you go online, you go on X, I was watching some of the videos of Peanut the squirrel, cute little squirrel, and it shows how out of control, the Gestapo shows how out of control this government is. It's like, I haven't seen anything like this in 4 years since the lockdowns. You know, I mean, they're going after a family pet like it's an ISIS terrorist in this guy's house, like he's harboring Al-Qaeda. And we've got these illegal gangs that are raping and murdering Americans on a regular basis. What are they doing with them? Absolutely nothing. You know, the Democrats have their priorities more than just screwed up. When I first saw this story earlier today, I didn't believe it. I thought, oh, this is crazy. This is some BS thing. They would not send law enforcement in, you know, like they did for Ilian Gonzalez. They wouldn't send law enforcement in looking for a squirrel like this in the state of New York, where criminal illegals are all over the state. But they did. You know, the Democrats, the liberals that are running this country right now, are so just mentally ill when you look at the way they're handling themselves. Now, I saw this video. There's a black woman. She's sitting in I'm not sure if it's a restaurant or a coffee shop, and black woman, and she's talking with her friends about Trump. They love Trump. They're MAGA. And this liberal white woman, a Karen, overhears these black women talking about how they're voting for Trump, and she has a freaking meltdown. Listen to this. The one you hear scream, you'll be able to tell this. The Karen white woman, the liberal, she's not wearing a pink hat, but she's got a pink sweater on. She just can't handle the fact that these black women are voting for Trump.
Do I disagree? Are you a Democrat? Yes, I am.
Oh.
I was a Republican. So I worked for the presidential candidates. The only people who ever challenged me. Why did you do such a social conversation? You know what? Advocated women. No, this is educated. It means that you understand what someone is saying. Okay. I think Felon is a sex offender and accused of espionage, indicted for espionage.
Oh, she's talking about Trump being indicted for espionage.
The only people who ever challenge me are white Democrat women. I am a 35-year national security expert.
Oh, you're so smart.
Oh, she says this Karen says she's a national security expert, and Trump is a threat to national security.
Okay, well, you're clear with that?
Everybody can believe what they want to believe.
No, thank you. Will you tell her? We were having a private conversation before she came over in my face saying, am I serious? So no, don't talk to me. Talk to her. You and I already know. You and I already know who is the one. Yeah, you and I already know. So take your attention right over here.
Yeah, Black MAGA just totally took down this white liberal Karen.
Denial. Watch out, lady. It's gonna be, you're trying me. You're trying me. No, why do you keep looking at me when she's the one agitating it? No. If you're going to be a mediator, then do it correctly. Address the person who you clearly see got up and got in my face. Man, go sit down somewhere. Right. Placating to these people.
You don't want to get into a knockout, drag-out argument with a black woman. You'll lose every time. Black women are the best arguers I've ever seen. It's like Real Housewives of Atlanta here. But what triggered this woman is not just that they're MAGA, but that they're Black MAGA. And, the Democrats, remember Lyndon Johnson said, we passed the Civil Rights Act. We'll have these blanks voting for us for the next 100 years. Well, it didn't work out that way, did it? Maybe for half of those 100 years, but things have changed. Trump came down the escalator. And Democrats around the country are in a complete panic. They're losing blacks. They've lost the Hispanics. They've lost the youth vote, right? They don't have much left. All their little demographic groups, the little special interest groups, the little victim groups have left them and have joined Trump, and they're just totally panicked about it. I get it. They should be panicked. They're losing everything. And you know what? It's not going to get any better. I want to play the beginning of this. TMZ interviewed the husband and wife that were the family of Peanut the Squirrel. Listen.
We just learned that they have euthanized Peanut.
And the raccoon as well.
And the raccoon as well. I am so sorry. This must
Sad.
be really difficult for you.
It not only tears my family apart, but Peanut was the cornerstone of our nonprofit animal rescue. And 10 to 12 DEC officers raided my house as if I was a drug dealer. I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal after they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status.
They checked his wife's immigration status. All of a sudden in New York, they're checking immigration status because the woman owns a squirrel.
Then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house. Then proceeded to go through every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon.
What the hell? In a state that is overrun with illegal aliens. These are just, one thing we learned during the 2020 period, the lockdowns and the shutdowns, is how out of control a lot of these state agencies are. They're just out of control. Who's the judge? Probably the judge that, is trying to put Trump in prison. A judge like that. A Mercan kind of judge. They're out of freaking control. Remember, especially in New York and California, local and state governments out of control. Remember in New York when the police went in that house and they ripped out of the house the Orthodox Jews? They said there were too many Jews in the house during the lockdown period, and they pulled them out of the house, pulling Jews out of a house. It's crazy. It's like the 30s in Germany. Now, a lot of people have domesticated raccoons and domesticated possums and all kinds of things. How many people have seen that guy on YouTube and on other social media that has all those raccoons around him that he feeds like hot dogs to? You've seen that? It's crazy. He's got like 100 freaking raccoons crawling on him. I haven't seen that guy get raided. Any stories about that guy getting raided? Everyone's seen that. Everyone. Who hunts squirrels? Florida is definitely the place to be. This is the best state in America, Florida. That's right. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. And those that are already subscribed to my channel, please like the video. All right, that helps a lot. It's just, the Peanut the Squirrel is just so symbolic of this out of control big government we have. Now, Minnesota, Tim Walz is the governor of Minnesota, but I never hear people from Minnesota have press conferences or speak to the media that like him. Have you heard anyone from Minnesota come out and talk about how much they love having Tim Walz as their governor? And there's a lot of Somalians in Minnesota, and the community leaders, the Somalian community leaders, came out this weekend and endorsed Donald Trump. This is shocking. I'm not sure why. I don't know what's on their mind. I don't know why they did it. I don't know why they're doing it, but that's absolutely amazing, isn't it? Let me play this. There's a local Somali community leaders endorsing President Trump.
We no longer hold truth to be sacred in this country. We have a media landscape where truth is now falsehood and falsehood is now truth. And I am not down with that. So for me, I'm going to continue to advocate for those who are sad, saying that I'm abandoning my party. Guess what? I did not abandon my party. My party abandoned me, and I'm not going to be party to that. And we're going to organize over this last couple of days to change the direction of this country. Thank you so much.
Yeah, would it not be amazing if Trump won Minnesota? I don't know if it's possible or not. I'm making a prediction, but that'd be a good one. Oh, Tim Walz. And now we have some counts now with the mail-in votes. And what I have here, it's a comparison to 4 years ago. How many Democrats and Republicans are doing mail-in voting now, and what's the difference in the number between 2020, okay? So this is Pennsylvania I'm going to go over, which is a battleground state. Pennsylvania is a swing state. Now, Trump's leading. Now, listen to this. White working class mail-in votes in Philadelphia, 53,971 Dems are voting absentee. 18,712 Republicans. So you might say, well, there's more Democrats than Republicans. Well, the Democrat mail-in vote for white working class voters in Philadelphia is down just under 30,000. And the Republican mail-in votes are up. White working class in Pittsburgh, Dems 39,883, Republicans 18,591. The Democrat mail-in votes are down 17,118 from 4 years ago. And the Republican white working class in Pittsburgh mail-in votes are up 4,225 from 4 years ago. Black voters in Philadelphia, mail-in, 64,080. Republican, 3,111. So the Dems' Black Philadelphia vote is down 52,160. The Republicans are down, but only 672. Blacks in Pittsburgh, the Dems' votes are down 7,377. So if you look at you look overall, this is Pennsylvania. But if you look overall nationwide, there's nowhere in the country where the Democrat early vote and mail-in vote is not down. Okay? The Democrat early vote and mail-in vote is down in every state in the country. Every state. And, with a lot of the changes that are going on in the country with the voting, a lot of these Democrats are voting for Trump. So that's important to remember, too. Here's President Trump talking today.
I put everything on the line for you, and including my life itself. I mean, in all fairness, I don't talk about it, but I did. And I need you to do one thing. We don't want your money. I don't want any money. I don't want anything. All we want is one simple thing. Get out on Tuesday and vote.
That's right. That's it. He's put his life on the line for us. He certainly has. I mean, that's it. I mean, if he said nothing else between now and Tuesday, that would be enough. And, I was talking this morning about this division between Biden and Kamala. It's gotten really bad. This is Fox News today.
Tonight, Fox News has learned multiple campaign calls that were publicly advised on the president's schedule for yesterday afternoon were canceled as he faces continuing fallout over his garbage comment on a Zoom earlier this week.
Okay, so because of that garbage comment, calling us all garbage, they've retired Joe Biden. He's no longer doing campaigning for Kamala Harris. Just him and Mark Cuban. They're in isolation because Mark Cuban and Biden are doing more damage than they are good. They're not even trying. They don't want him out there anymore. They put Biden in lockdown in Delaware. Isn't that something? Yeah. Yeah, my wife is Main Street Moments in the chat. She says they're using all women now. Yeah, they're trying to do some damage control from Mark Cuban. There's no damage control for that. Biden is not allowed to speak anymore. They have him under lockdown. Yeah, I mean, it's just, they had the coup. Now they got him locked down. He's president of the United States. He can talk to anybody that he wants. I don't like the guy, but come on. Y'all, the squirrel was, Peanut the squirrel was very domesticated. You'll see the videos on TV and online today. You'll see. Very domesticated squirrel who knew all kinds of cool tricks and had over 1 million followers on TikTok. He was really an amazing squirrel. I was shocked. When I first heard this story, I thought, there's no way this story is true. It's so bad for Kamala Harris that even CNN is calling out her hypocrisies.
Tonight, mixed messages. A K-file investigation this hour finds Kamala Harris is targeting crucial battleground voters with vastly different messages on Gaza and Israel. This ad is running in Michigan, which has the largest Arab population in America.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent.
All right, well, it's a very different story for an ad in Pennsylvania targeting Jewish voters.
Let me be clear. I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself.
Oh my goodness.
And I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7th.
Different message. Andrew Kaczynski is out front now. So, Andrew, those obviously do sound
pretty good, huh?
Starkly different, to say the least. Tell me more about what you found.
Yeah, that's right. And this really illustrates the sort of fine line that the Harris campaign is trying to walk here in the closing weeks, closing days.
Fine line. She's talking out of both sides of her mouth, right? She's talking to Muslims. She's anti-Israel, pro-Hamas. She's talking to Jews. She's anti-Hamas, anti-Palestinian, pro-Israel. So Kamala stands for nothing. She stands up for whatever the room that she's standing in wants to hear. That's what she stands up for. When you have CNN pointing out a hypocrisy like that on a Democrat, that's a Democrat that's in a lot of trouble. Now, this morning I played Cardi B's bizarre speech at the Kamala event yesterday, and then this video of Cardi B came out from last year, and she's talking about the prices of groceries last year. Listen to this.
Let me tell you something. When I be complaining about food prices, and y'all motherfuckers be like, ain't you rich? Why you complaining about...
Oh, she's a class act, isn't she? With that kind of language.
Let me tell you something. When I be complaining about food prices, and y'all motherfuckers be like, ain't you...
Hannibal Lecter's a fictional character. It's not a real person, guys, okay?
Let me tell you something. When I be complaining about food prices, and y'all motherfuckers be like, ain't you rich? Why you complaining about lettuce? Why you complaining about this? That just goes to show me when you become successful, when you have money, you're gonna go broke soon, because y'all not budgeting. I get a summary of the money that's being spent in my home every week. So when I'm starting to see that like groceries is like tripling up, it's like, hey, yo, what the fuck is going on? I want to see for myself what the fuck shit is being spent on. And like when I go to the fucking supermarket, like I went to a supermarket, I'm seeing that everything tripled up. That like lettuce was like $2 a couple of months ago, and now it's like fucking $7. Of course I'm gonna say something. The fuck? Because if I think that shit is crazy, I can only imagine what middle class people or people in the hood is motherfucking thinking. So yes, I'm going to say something. The fuck? And I have a big platform. So I do want anybody that's responsible of these fucking prices to put that shit the fuck down. They're gonna see my shit, they might put it down. So shut the fuck. Let me tell you something.
Okay. That's Cardi B, class act. She, So what she's doing is she's talking about how unaffordable food is under Kamala Harris. And then last night she's out there praising her. By the way, Antono Chris, welcome as a member to the channel. Remember, members, you get your name in a different color so you stand out in the chat, and you have access to all the members-only emojis, and there's also members-exclusive content on the website as well. So thanks for becoming a member. Remember, subscribe, guys. So here's Cardi B being honest about the prices. Prices are so high that even her, who's I'm assuming she's a millionaire, even a millionaire is complaining about the prices. But last night, do you think it's a coincidence that this latest wave of celebrities endorsing and coming out in support of Kamala Harris are all connected to P. Diddy? Is that just a coincidence? Are they holding immunity and pardons over these people? I don't know, but it seems like all these celebrities that have been coming out lately have a P. Diddy connection, including J-Lo, who has a big one. I mean, my goodness. Oh, boy. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. I'll probably be back later after Trump speaks again. I'm Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Subscribe and like the video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.